Buongiorno, buongiorno, buongiorno. Sono le 10 del mattino, quindi buongiorno. It's 10 a.m. more or less, therefore we say buongiorno. Up until about lunchtime. After lunch, around whenever lunch is, after lunch is generally buonasera. Buonasera. So 2 o'clock in the afternoon, buonasera. What does buonasera mean? It means good evening. But in Italy, we say buonasera, even though it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, possibly because the word for afternoon in Italian is pomeriggio. And you might hear people say buon pomeriggio, but it's not that common. And it makes sense because pomeriggio, that's 4 syllables, whereas buonasera, that's a lot shorter and more convenient. And that might explain everything. The point is, buongiorno up until lunchtime, buonasera after lunch, all the way until it's time to go home and go to bed, at which point we have buonanotte. Buonanotte. We also have the more informal ciao. Ciao. Ciao is for friends and family or people you've known for 100 years. If there's some mutual agreement to say ciao, right? But just because you've known someone for 100 years doesn't mean you're necessarily going to say ciao. Like your next door neighbor. The next door neighbor in Italy has like an urban legend connotations to it because people tend to live in what they call condominio, which is basically a big apartment building, and they live in the same one. They own the space and they live in the same one for 100 years. And you might have the same neighbor for 100 years, but you don't say the informal to them. You say formal. So you might say buonasera, buongiorno, buonasera until everybody dies, right? Even though you see them every single day of your life multiple times. It's still buongiorno, buonasera. So if you've already said buongiorno and buonasera to a person, you can always switch to salve. Salve. Salve is sort of like a greeting that just means greetings, and it denotes a lack of intimacy. You are never going to say salve to your friends and family, ever, unless you're like really, really mad at them. Salve. But if you've already seen your next door neighbor and you've said buongiorno, and then you run into her again in the elevator after half an hour, you can say salve. The point being, you must say something. Greetings in Italy are more important than they are in America. In America, you can ignore people. Family members, neighbors, whatever, just pretend not to see them. In Italy, you cannot do that, right? So, buongiorno, that can be formal. So if you go to your neighborhood store, alimentari, to buy some food, you can say buongiorno. Okay, but you also say buongiorno to your family members. When you wake up in the morning and you look at your husband or your wife or whoever, you say buongiorno. And you can say ciao, right? But just to point out the fact that buongiorno is not only formal. It's good morning. It's what we say. Italians don't skip the greetings, right? And buonasera, less so. Buonasera, you're not really going to say buonasera to your family members, but buongiorno, yes. You can say it in a formal setting. You can say it in an informal setting. So we have buongiorno, buonasera, ciao, salve. Those are the ones to know. And then buonanotte. Buonanotte and arrivederci. Arrivederci. Arrivederci literally means until we meet again. Arrivederci. So we tend to use this in the store, in the supermarket, whatever. Again, please note, if you walk into a store, you are going to use some form of greeting, even if you can't see anyone. You are going to use a formal greeting, buonasera. If you don't see anyone, you walk into a store, buonasera. And that's sort of like the little bell on the door that lets them know, I'm here, I'm not trying to shoplift. You give them this greeting. And then when they see you, they will greet you. Buonasera. Okay? But the greeting is necessary. And when you leave the store, arrivederci, for the most part. Not so much in the big supermarkets, right? Which have become more and more popular over the years. But if you're in a mom and pop store and you leave, some form of arrivederci is necessary. Now, addio means goodbye forever. We use that when you're breaking up, right, for the most part. Addio. Addio per sempre. Okay, per sempre is superfluous because if you say addio, we know, right? But arrivederci. If it's friends or family, we just say ciao. Ciao, right? And then we might say something like buona giornata, have a nice day. Buona serata, have a nice evening. Buon weekend. Italians are always wishing each other buon something. Buon weekend. Buona continuazione. Good continuation. It just means keep on keeping on. Buona permanenza. It means enjoy your stay. Have a nice stay. Okay, but the main thing to understand is the greetings are very important. It's not even important if you get the greetings right because Italians love to correct you. But it is important that you greet everyone all the time. No matter how many times you've already seen them that day, you see them again, they get a greeting again. Buon lavoro.